I'm going to be installing some extra lights in my tractor that you see behind me here. It's a Mahindra eMax 22. It doesn't quite come with enough lights from the factory. I bought this machine, also came with a 56-inch front-mounted snowblower, so I'm going to be using this machine quite a bit in the dark, in the evenings, doing snow removal. So I decided I needed to get some lights to help me out with that. So I took the front loader end off just to make it easier to access where I'm going to run the wiring from the front. So this particular model, the battery's mounted up in the front, behind the grill there, and the wiring's got to be run back. I'm going to be mounting the lights to the roll bar here. There'll be one at the top, they'll be facing forward, and then be two smaller ones at the back here, facing backwards. The next step I have to do is tear everything down. So once I get that done, I'll be right back. Now with it all tore down, kind of walk you through kind of the plan here. So you got the battery up front here. Going to run the wiring all the way through to the back, or at least the console. So here we've got all the front taken apart. Every tractor, I'm sure, comes apart in its own unique way, so you just have to figure it out for yourself. That's why I didn't put that part of the installation on the video here, but now I've got it all tore down. This is kind of the wiring from the steering wheel, behind the steering wheel, the controls. So everything should fit back here pretty good. Looks like there's plenty of room behind the panels when I put those back on, so that shouldn't be an issue. So now I'm going to show you kind of what the wiring is and the lights, and kind of what my installation is going to be like on this one. So this is the light kit right here that I bought on Amazon. It's less than $60 for the whole set. Comes with the wiring harness here, the two 4-inch lights here, and the 20-inch light bar right here. So seems like pretty decent quality. I did test them with a battery just to make sure they all work before I started this, and they all seem to work just fine. Here's the wires that you're going to hook up to your battery. So if you look at this particular wire harness that comes with this kit, you've got the positive and the negative ground lead here. Got a fuse, 15 amp fuse inside here. And you can see how short it is to the relay. So here's the relay, and then from the relay, you've got the cables that are going off to the switch, and then the two light sets, the bar and then the two smaller lights. So for this application here, this is such a short lead to get to the relay. I don't really want all this stuff up underneath the grill. So what I ended up doing was peeling this back here a little bit, cutting the red wire, the positive wire off, splicing it into some additional 16 gauge wire, and running the main power lead all by itself back through the tractor. And then tied back into this harness up underneath the dash, and then everything is going to be up under the dash except for this one positive lead heading to the back. And then obviously the wires from the lights will head off from that point. Here's that positive lead with the fuse. As you can see, I put the wire through some 1/4-inch loom and then ran that back through the back, kind of follow along, as you can see right there, with the existing wiring harnesses that go through the back. And then as you can see, it kind of pops out right here. I zip tied it in, and then that wires up to the back here. So here's the relay with the leads that go off to the lights right here. There's another relay, actually, another module right here behind the dash that's bolted into a bracket right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this relay, take that screw out, and it's going to mount it right there. There's plenty of clearance in the back here, so that shouldn't be an issue. I also bought a second wiring harness, identical to this one right here, because I wanted to operate my lights separately. So I want to be able to turn the front one on and or the back lights. I didn't want to have them all on all the time. Just to give me some versatility. This is the dash taken off. This is the switch that comes with this wiring harness, just a simple round switch that goes through a 3/4-inch hole in the dash. So I've got to put one more in yet, so I'm going to drill a 3/4-inch hole right here, and I'll install the second switch. Got a 3/4-inch drill bit here. I'm just going to drill the hole. go. There's one thing this has on this. It has a little ridge right here. So you do have to notch out a slight bit of the hole here. It kind of locks it in so it prevents it from spinning in the future. So I do have to line this up and make a little groove in there. So I got it marked. I've got to take this other wire, positive wire, and I need to tap into the existing line that I ran back here so I can branch off to the secondary switch. I've got the relays all wired up and they're hooked in. So as you can see here, took this existing mounting part there and then I just mounted these. One in the front side and one off the back side and bolted it right on. Everything's grounded through that connection as well. So kind of was nice to have this spot. There's actually an indentation here in the gas tank. Kind of allows for the wires, allows for the relay to fit in there. So it's actually convenient to have this in this spot. I was able to put the two relays in there without any issues. All right, I've got all the wiring in. Got the buttons. Those are all installed. Got the panel, top panel at least hooked back up. I end up having to move the relays from this spot. The one fit, but two didn't fit because the ignition and wiring has to kind of fit into this area. So it was a little crowded. So I ended up moving those down here and zip tied them back here to a pillar or as part of the frame. And got all the wires here just kind of bound up good. Run through, zip tied, and then I'm going to put this panel back on and then we'll get it all back together. Everything's back together now. Take a little walk around here of everything. So I got the dash and everything put back together. So you got the two switches there that turn on the lights. That's the back. That's the front. Right there. So I got the two rear lights here facing backwards. And I've got the top bar there facing forwards. Right there. I've got them magnets, so if you look here, these are all magnets on these. If you look at the base, it's just a magnet, screws right into the bracket. I did have to trim the screws off underneath there. The screws were just a little bit too long, but this is rated for, I think this was like 90 pounds strength, so they hold on there pretty good. The nice thing about these is if you had put them on with zip ties or some other fashion, they'd be kind of stuck there. But these are kind of nice because you can actually take them, flip around, face them forward if you need to. Then you've got the adjustments here. You can make them swivel in and out, so kind of change your angle. So it's very easy to move around. Very easy to move around. Same with this one. Now I'll show you the top one here in just a second. Because it's got the magnets on there, you can pop it off. I left some extra cable on here, so I made it a little bit longer. So if you ever needed to, you can pop it up on top and then face it backwards. And I've got a rear light now, as well as a front light. But this is primarily going to be used on the front here. You can see how pretty strong those magnets are. They really pull up. You got to really pull down on it to get it to disconnect. So next thing we do is we'll go test them out. First we do an inside test, obviously in the garage. These are the rear ones. I got some adjustment up and down. See, the nice thing about those magnets, you can tilt them up, tilt them down very easily. Also flip them around. Also, if you hit something, happens to hit something, instead of busting the bracket or bending it, it's just going to knock it off and let it hang there. And then it actually catches back on the magnet. So less likely to damage the equipment when they're mounted this way. The front one. So you can tell it gives quite a bit of light. Alright, so now we'll take this outside and check it out in the dark. Alright, so that's a wrap on that project. Everything went fairly smooth. It's not a very difficult project as long as you understand just some simple 12-volt wiring, and then it's really up to you to decide, how you want to mount it. Brackets, permanent brackets, the magnets I feel are probably the best way to do it, but I guess you could figure that out on your own. Depends on what you're going to use it for. I know once I get the loader back on, especially with the snowblower attachment that I put on the front, this is definitely going to help in the winter time when I'm moving snow around the driveway here. So I hope this helped you out if you're looking at maybe putting some lights in your tractor, not really sure what kind. You can obviously buy the very expensive LED lights that they sell, but these seem to work just fine for the $58 that it cost me having shipped free to the house. It's really not a bad deal. Looking forward to getting out and using this tractor in the dark. It's definitely going to be a big enhancement. In fact, when I was outside doing some adjustments on the top bar to get the angle correct, I actually dropped my socket, and I was able to take the backlights and kind of swivel them around so I could find my light. So I kind of use it as a remote flashlight out in the field. So it actually came in handy the very first time out using it. So hope you liked it, and good luck with your project if you decide to do one of these yourself.